So welcome to Conversations with Ladonna in association with Fire Media. This is the Peachtree Village International Film Festival edition.
Woohoo!
And today our guest is
Parvesh Cheena. You guys can call me Parv.
So today we're going to speak with you about your acting career. I understand you're an actor, producer, a voiceover artist. And so we're going to chat about that for a little bit, but also the fact that you are part of this wonderful festival and you're going to be on the panel for the Cast Me If You Can, Secrets to a Successful Acting Career. So can you tell us a little bit about what this panel discussion is going to be about and what the attendees can expect to learn?
I'm just excited to be, as any actor likes to talk about themselves, so I'm just happy to be asked to get 5 minutes to talk about just the insights that I have. You know, Cast Me If You Can. Obviously, we're doing a play on the Spielberg Catch Me If You Can, which was later a Broadway musical that did okay. But but I live in LA. I'm from Chicago originally, and I'm just believe it or not, my old manager was one who we're still friends. So like that's really nice to know in this industry that you never burn a bridge.
That's right.
Stay friends with everybody, because my old friend Jay Khanna was one who put me in touch with the festival. And so many of us are at home. We're living in these squares. I did not art direct as I normally do in my background, but I'm just trying to hide my futon.
I love it.
that I'm in. But I'm hopefully we're going to be talking about acting, what brought us. I know there are a couple other people of color on the panel, and so we know that we will always have a different experience in this country. Being an Indian American from outside Chicago, my joke is that in my work I'm still too Indian and never Indian enough.
That's crazy, right?
It is interesting, but because I also know more about like white suburban culture than I do necessarily about like what was India's take in 1965. I'll be like, the mom, and she'll be like, I don't know, I was 20.
Right. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I'm having a really nice moment. I think by the time this all airs, my NBC show Connecting, which we film at home.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that.
Clearly you can tell that this was a voiceover day because there's no makeup and really bad product in my hair. Sturfan, my hair, our Vanities gentleman, which means like the hair makeup wardrobe, he's going to be very disappointed. Like they text us. They literally text like, fluff up your hair. The fro's falling in the back. Like we get these notes like, I'm sorry for no leave-in conditioner. I forgot my Carol's daughter today.
It is what it is, right? I finally went to the salon since March to get that gray out because it was being so disrespectful up in here.
Look at that. Do you know what they do for my grays? At least for us gentlemen who I'm not one of the best at makeup and hair, mascara. Where you get a mascara stick and they put it in. And then now the way that our show goes, like right now we're filming for like September, October-y. Like we get this on the Halloween episode, and they're like, okay, enough time's come by. Your character doesn't cover the grays anymore. He gave up. And I'm like, just one more episode. NBC won't know. and they won't. There's no hair makeup people.
That's right. You have to do what you can do. Now, so this is filming on, I saw where it's airing on NBC. So talk about that show, Connecting. How was it filming during the pandemic?
It's
was
crazy.
Everybody in their own location? I mean, how did you have to do that?
There are a couple other shows right now that have been doing, the pandemic route, like the stay-at-home orders, quarantine. Like my friend Danny Pudi on Mythic Quest on Apple TV Plus, they had a quarantine episode. All Rise, which is a Simone Missick-led show on CBS. I did a few episodes. They did a quarantine thing, and I just remember, and they did it early on. Like I want to say like March, April-ish. So come July, I was like, "What was that like, Danny?" And he's like, "Why?" 'Cause I'm like, "Because we're doing an entire show this way, and it's a lot of iPhones. We literally film on iPhones.
Wow.
We have sound packs. I mean, I actually am a little embarrassed, but I literally came from a voiceover recording in my closet In there. I literally came from there doing one of my Disney shows, which we record at home also. Like what you will hear on Disney Channel, other than from a little tweaks maybe on their end, is what I just did in my sweater box.
I love it.
But we do everything. We do hair, makeup, wardrobe. When I joke about art direction, because I don't normally film up here, my downstairs is pretty much the set. You know, the kitchen, laundry room where I hide from my kids in the show. That's pretty much taken. So like at least we've preserved our upstairs. But I'm just like, oh, this is a lot of empty space. Yeah. Oh no, the light switch. Because now we have an eye for it. We know when we're like, oh, can you put a little piece of artwork here? And like, oh, Parvesh, juice up, make sure Phil from Disney's Hercules, played by Danny DeVito, can be seen. Like, so we're out of frame. But we're doing all of this, including like weird stuff like lighting, sound was fascinating. So it's now in the same flip, I want to complain, but I also don't want to complain. Like I'm very super grateful from this experience. If nothing else, like I'm also learning a lot. I will always remember this home. I will always remember 2020 for this, let alone the struggles that so many, not just Americans, but people all over the world are going through. I've just had a lot of privilege enjoying this moment as any actor. Like, I mean, like strip away pandemic and the quarantine for a moment, but if you were to tell me like, wouldn't you like to be a series regular on television again? I mean, like that's always the dream.
Always the dream.
Always a dream, because it's a routine.
Yeah.
I love knowing that until like October 15th, I write down in my calendar, like Tuesday to Friday filming.
Yeah.
So it's not lost on me.
Say that once again.
None of this is lost on me. This opportunity, this joy during this time when so many friends are struggling. I'm very grateful that my voiceover work, let alone an on-camera comedy TV show.
Yeah.
I barely leave the house.
That's such a blessing. So talk about your comedy show. What has been your favorite episode so far?
Well, I did like the Halloween one we did, because it's kind of an anti-Halloween episode. And it's just, you know, like how so many sitcoms, we know you're going to come up on like the Halloween episode, the Thanksgiving episode, Christmas. It's just these universal, it doesn't matter your religious denomination. These are just American cultural holidays. So like even our Halloween was kind of like definitely as real life is approaching it. Like I kept the pumpkin lights that they gave me to hang up. they're just hung up. They're just staying for Halloween right now. But I did like how we do kind of an anti-Halloween, because, you know, parents would kids, let alone are we trick-or-treating, are we not? It's going to be such a question mark. So like I really like how we've done this. I don't want to say anti, because that seems like we're poo-pooing the holiday, but just like a quarantine holiday. Like it's
that's different.
Very interesting.
So where can everyone find it if we want to watch it?
We'll be on Thursday nights on NBC. I want to say 8 p.m. to begin. I think when Superstore comes back in a few weeks, we either switch with them, like we become 8:30 or they become 8, but it's at 8 o'clock, 8:30 hour, and 7 p.m. in Chicago. I call it Chicago's Standard Time. It's Central Standard Time. Yeah. And you can also watch it on their streaming site, Peacock, the next day.
Yeah. Awesome. Now I got a chance to watch your acting reel, one of your reels, and I feel that you had just great comedic time, and I was just laughing and just enjoying your work. Have you always known that you wanted to be a comedic actor?
I think, you know, for those of us who, combination of like when you look a certain way, and I know that even this is changing, like my like late 90s, early 2000s in college I was told a couple of things that is just not done anymore. Like, oh, you're ethnic. You got that big nose, Parv, you're short. You know, like, you're going to be a great character actor. Oh. Romeo, not so much. But have you thought about Peter or Benvolio? Like, all these other roles. So, like, that, which is fine. I understand that. But I was always the joker or the fool in class, even just because I knew, like, I liked, it's that simple, basic feeling. I liked it when my classmates laughed at me. I liked it when like people clapped when they saw shows. So it was just that simple need for affirmation. But yeah, I think timing, I always think of Lisa Kudrow. I love her work
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
not just Friends, but everything she does from the
Yeah.
comeback. I mean, like she just has that unique timing that it's just not the expectation. So I like when you get surprised.
Yeah.
And but one thing to go heavy is like before connecting, especially like where we've had a lot of like the racial reckonings in our country, and it's needed
Yeah.
from Black Lives Matter to just even before that with the Me Too, Never Again movements that a lot of our women have had to suffer. But it's not just women; it's also a lot of men have had issues.
Absolutely.
So I realized that a lot of my humor as an actor, as a performer, and I'm not a stand-up. Like I like Friends, I like improvising, I like sketch, and I like just doing comedic work.
Yeah.
Was in service of white patriarchy.
Mm.
And no, it hit me like, because then I had that moment of like, equality for everyone means like some people, it feels like they're losing some stuff. So I, for a moment, thought like, I can't be funny. Am I only going to do self-deprecating humor? But
right.
Because my jokes were like, look at those other Indians. I'm not like that. Or look at those other gay people. I'm not as gay as them. Who did that service?
Yeah.
It was eye-opening. I'm still working on it because there is inclusivity without losing any edge or humor. And I'm like, the people who are holding on to it have been a bit, I'm like, so you're holding on for your right to be a little malicious and cruel to people when we can all joke, we can all tell. It's just also like my age, like where I am, that cusp of Generation X into millennials. I'm in that in between.
Yeah.
So that's been like just a big, not challenge, but I'm just aware of it. I think a lot more of us are. I don't want to be in service of a group that makes fun of other people.
Right.
So I feel like I've just been like trying to hone again love and that kind of kindness, but you can still do all that without losing any bite. So, but I'm finding it, and I don't mean to go heavy, but that's really where in some of my comedic work, where I'm like, just make sure, Parv, you're not doing that easy laugh at someone else's expense.
That's good.
And it's the line. It's a fine line. People talk about it. I know like some of our elders, like Seinfeld, and they don't like it. They want to be politically incorrect, and there's a time and place for it too. But I just wonder if like, how is your need to say something funny and witty if it hurts even 1 or 10 or 1,000,000 people?
Right.
I don't know, but we're finding it. I think we haven't decided. All the rules aren't met right now, but we are getting there. And it as a out Indian American actor, like I feel like it's just something to keep awareness.
Yeah, and that is a challenge to do, because you want to work your craft, be creative, and then you want to be funny, but at what expense? And then you want to be able to tell stories. So I understand is finding that fine line, and as long as you know that you're doing your best and working your best at what you're trying to do, that's all you can do, is just keep growing and improving as you go along.
There's a lot of truth too, as long as we're telling the truth. Truth in comedy is a simple factor. It's something that I hold dear. So and just as long as we keep telling stuff truthfully, like you don't need to those jokes. Like when we look back at stuff from the 90s, I'm like, woof, what we let go, what we, and especially any minority has been like, I'm gonna take that terrorist joke because it's 2003 and I want to work, but 17 years later, you might be like, not so nice. Not so kind.
So what is one of the your favorite funniest roles that you've played so far, or funniest projects that you've been in?
I loved the old musical theater student in me, loved working on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I was talking about Rachel Bloom earlier today. Actually, with Disney, with my cartoon T.O.T.S, we were actually talking about Rachel because she's an amazing singer and songwriter too. So I love that too, because it was also just one of those roles where I was just the lawyer guy who liked musical theater, and my ethnicity was secondary. For so much of my work, it's always been at the forefront. I'm like, you can just cast me in this part the mailroom delivery guy or the assistant vice principal or the CEO of this company, and we don't have to talk about the food I ate.
Absolutely.
But, and I know that they're trying to like welcome it, but I'm like,
Yeah.
we're good now. You know, this isn't
Right.
like a small town only has that one Chinese restaurant and we're ordering beef and broccoli like it's 1986. Indian, Thai restaurants, we're around now. We don't need to talk about pad Thai and tandoori chicken every character
Right.
choice. So that, I liked Crazy X a lot because I think it barely was an issue. It barely, I mean, and it's always a part. I don't, and when I say this thing about like when actors especially want to like play parts or roles that don't talk about what we are inherently, because we just want to show like it's enough. It's
Yeah.
enough that you cast this guy as Sunil.
Yeah.
That's it. And Sunil is just a needy, doing bad lawyer too. You know, he doesn't have to be like Sunil. You know, through the lens of an Indian American.
Right. No need for that. Just,
Yeah.
yeah.
We can just exist. So that, but you know, some people are scared of that. They're like, but what, we're just going to let you be the principal and not ever talk about your ethnicity. I'm like, you know, maybe in like 4 months when Diwali comes around, we could be like, oh, hey, happy Diwali. Anyway, you're late to class. You know, you're written up.
Right.
Like, it's just simple. We
Yeah.
don't need to like hit it on the head so much. So I like parts where I get to play that. And that was even before connecting because, and we do have some Indian jokes. We do definitely have some Indian American kind of lens jokes
Yeah.
specifically, but it's not the end all be all. Even like even Pradeep, my character in connecting, the orientation is secondary. Like I'm not going about day to day in this pandemic, this character worried about being gay. He's just worried about being a dad.
Right.
Like, are his kids going to drive him crazy, or can I hide from them, or like, you know, it's that basic stuff.
Right.
And it feels like we're a little under threat right now as we get closer to this election. But I'm also feeling wildly optimistic
Yeah.
that no matter what happens, you can't shut these thoughts and these experiences for so many people. It's, you know, like we're not going to be quiet.
Absolutely.
We're not going backwards either. So it is just an awareness and a real time to go forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that. What type of acting tips can you give someone who wants to be a comedic actor?
A couple things with specific to the pandemic, which I really like, is like if you're not in a class right now, this is a great time to be in class. I was in I'd gone back to John Rosenfeld Studios, JRS, here in LA online. And it actually helped me for connecting because there's a different kind of acting when we're dealing with this kind of screen time where I have only met my castmates once. And after we had like a little screening a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
that was it. You know, so haven't touched them, obviously, you know, but there you can still connect this way. I also just some practical tips, like if you are working on this kind of lens, I'm on a laptop today. I literally would bring my script right up underneath. I'm trying to see if I can open up something, like literally right underneath. Let's see, what is this day of instruction? I would put it right underneath the eye line.
Yeah, I've done that in a class.
So that's because what I realized, like, I didn't want to, which is why I'm telling people to go to class, is like, I didn't want being in class and not memorizing to be a reason why not to learn something.
Right.
So like, even right now, like, I just pulled up a file and like, so this is me like locked dead into my camera. But, you know, you can kind of still get away with like, you know, we're very excited to have you participate in the second SAG-AFTRA live stream of race and storytelling, Asian American. I'm just reading, you know, quick read, back to lens, you know, because no one ever like locks and stares. So I've done it in the show too. Like and I'm bringing you back. See, now I'm looking at you and now I brought you back closer to the eye line. It's just these little tricks too. Like I will have posted, like, if this is where the frame is, like, or I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to post like a couple lines here. So when I forget here, or if I want to have this acting choice where I'm looking at these lines and I'm just reading them before I come back to you.
Yes.
So I've been practical on that. Their lighting, I feel like everyone's lighting game should be better. Like, it should be better than how my lighting game is today. But think about it, like, this is where, specifically to this pandemic, stay at home,
Yeah.
we're doing a lot of self-tapes, and as well as like live, actual over Zoom, over Blue Jeans, auditions for commercials even, which I love, because I'm like, I don't have to tape it, I don't have to edit it and then send a file. No, they will just Zoom with you. I'm like, so just make sure you have a good setup.
Yeah, highlights.
These are practical things that can help, you know.
Yeah.
We do joke with NBC that we're just going to steal or say that we broke all the lighting stuff.
Just keep them. I
Yeah.
saw your video earlier. You was liking that light that you had.
They have this quasar light, which it's downstairs charging because we have night shoots, so I don't want to. And that's also the worst. Like when they're like, "Did you not charge?" I'm like, "I forgot," but they're charging, and they just look like. And see, like here's another like we just have constant like tripods and everything here. But like the light it's just like a tube, like a fluorescent light, and it literally looks like a lightsaber, and it's the best.
Yeah. I saw the Star Wars thing.
Lit from underneath.
I love it. All right, that's wonderful. So yeah, during the pandemic, we definitely need to take advantage on the online classes. I definitely have done that myself.
Yeah, it's a good time. You don't have to worry about parking. I mean, like if we're all in this world right now where we're not together, so do what you can.
You can take, like, it doesn't make a difference where you're from. Like, I'm connected with people in LA that are coaching, connected with people here that are coaching in Atlanta. I just connected with somebody in Philly. So it's a great time to take advantage of this downtime.
It's really opened up, like, you know, before LA, New York used to be king, before like Atlanta's, North Carolina's, all the Louisiana's, let alone Chicago. I'm biased to Chicago because that's where I'm from, but like they always were like, Chicago's like, back then it was ER. You know, before all these Chicago meds and fires and PDs and Chicago accounting office, you know, these other Chicago shows.
Yeah.
But we have these regional areas now. And so you can audition and literally work from anywhere. One of my best friends, she is my writing partner. She's a voiceover actor with me, Sonal Shah. She's in Chicago right now visiting family because why not? When she books again is when she will fly back to LA. Superstore needs me, okay, fly back. We were able to record one of our Disney cartoons where we play brother and sister from Chicago, me from the closet.
I love the closet.
It's funny. I'm back in.
Love it. Now I did a virtual play during the pandemic when you talked about looking at the camera. Have you done a virtual play before?
Yeah, friends are doing readings. My theater company, I Am a Theater Company, our 2021 season will all be online. And that's, again, pardon?
You have a theater company or you participate in a theater company?
I just became an ensemble member.
Oh, nice.
And this is just a company that I was doing a musical with that got shut down in March. We were one of, like, no more live theater. You know, we were 2-3 weeks before the end of our run. And, but yeah, they're going to be doing their season all online. And I do know, like, the difference with that is when it does go to typical eye lines. You know, I do like in the theater where, like, no, you don't have to be locked dead to the camera.
Right.
You can have your shifts, you know. What I've noticed a lot is, like, yeah, if you and I are in a scene, I'll put you here. Oh, and we have Bill come in, we'll put him here. And then, like, any soliloquy monologue or the narrator comes back to you, the audience. So it's just been this kind of directing game. But, like, I've also found it, I've been watching comedy shows. I do like the theater readings online because I'm a big fan of wearing comfy clothing. I mean, you can still participate, watch. I don't need any of the hyper realist stuff, you know, like two people talking within 10 seconds, I'm already in.
Yeah.
So I do, but it is these little shifts, you know.
Yeah.
Versus like the YouTube, the influencer kind of like always talking to camera thing, but versus back to a play, you can go back to these moments. And I just feel like if you were to tell like maybe like a 6 or 8-year-old or 10-year-old, like, oh, this is theater, this is live, this is not filmed, we can't pause it. Because I also like those. I've seen a mix of like things have been pre-recorded. And then what the future might be is like to give it that oomph and that vitality, like it would be live. Like we wouldn't record it once like a TV show that someone would watch. I would want to give that live viewer Like, no, you might be tuning in from Singapore or or Little Five Points,
Yeah.
but or or LA or whatever. But this is at this moment in time, I am reading these lines. I am participating.
Yeah.
I think that, and if you told them like that's theater, it's that is happening live and right now. I think that means a lot. That's why we still will always watch these live events, from sports
Yeah.
to like the award shows, because we want to see what will happen.
Yeah,
This
you
is
want to be
immediate.
there at the moment when it's going on, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So you might have referenced this. I saw back in March that you had a post where you were rehearsing for the funny dance show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how fun was it for you to rehearse? I saw you doing your thing. So how
Yeah, that was
fun was
great.
that to rehearse that?
Heidi and Justine, just friends, there's stand-ups here in LA, and they just always dance at their shows. They're friends with Jade Catapretta, who's the host of E's Talk the Soup,
Yeah.
Talk Soup. I think it's back. And so they were just like, we just wanted to see like funny people, comedic actors dance. So yeah, there's an element of reality to it. Like, it's a little not scripted so much, but like they do push a storyline. So I'm just like, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna be the nice guy. I don't want to like trash talk, because I don't like competition in art. So
Yeah.
I just rolled with that, but it was just really fun. Danielle Flora was our choreographer, and she is the choreographer for Saturday Night Live.
Oh,
So, like,
wow.
all the bits, everything that you see. So that was a dream, to just like work, because they had legit choreographers. I mean, they had like
Wow.
Beyonce choreographers. They had some like Kat Burns, who was our Emmy winner from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I didn't have her on my team, but she choreographed some. So it was funny, but mind you, it was done by like legit hardcore choreographers. So there were some people like who might be a little like, I'm gonna, like half see it, but like so many friends, like Danny Franzese from like Mean Girls did it, and I know he can dance. So like, there's like some people who are like, no, we're gonna tear it up,
Right.
because you just might not expect it in this package, a
Right.
5'5"
Right.
chubby
Right.
package, or Danny who's like this huge bear, you might not expect, but everyone, I like when all bodies dance. So that was just such a fun. I was grateful for that, just because like I get to do a Fosse number.
I love it.
And I just remember when it aired, I just was like dying, because I was just like, I was on a dance show, and it was.
Did you learn any new moves?
No, I knew them all. I had to stretch a lot. Like, I can't do like squats. I get the Asian squat, especially, like you see like some poor people, like they just sit and hang out from India to Japan. They just take a squat. And I'm like, the American me is like, where's the squatty potty for just sitting?
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
stretch. Stretch. And like how you're talking about it, you just like want to like stretch now. Whenever you
Yeah.
talk about stretching, you're just like, oh, these bones, these muscles.
Oh yeah, these old bones. I worked out the other day. I'm hurting now.
Mm.
So can you give us one piece of advice that you think every actor should know to be successful? What's one piece of advice?
The biggest piece of advice is to know that it's not always about you. And no
That's
one likes to
important.
hear that. No one likes to hear that. Like, I came from the mindset that like, okay, if you want to do well at math or history, you just keep doing it. You have to keep doing those math problems, or keep reading about the War of 1812 till you know everything about it.
Yeah.
In an arbitrary field that we have, where at a certain point, it's a given everyone's good, because that'll be the first cull. The first cut would be like, okay, well, this person clearly didn't even bother to learn the lines, let alone any intention. So thank you. Let's go on to the other four. Okay, you guys are all equally talented. You're three people left, right?
Yeah.
All could do it. All equally talented. One's a jerk.
Hmm.
One is one has no personality but is great. And then the third person looked like one of the producer's cousins who used to beat him up when he was growing up, and hates that person.
Not gonna make it.
That has nothing, and this has happened. to
Yeah.
me, to friends. Literally, it was a horror movie, and Robert Englund, Freddy, was directing it, and I ran into him at a bar, like this is in like my mid-20s, and I'm like, why didn't I get my break? And he was like, Parv, you were great. You look like the producer's cousin, and he hates his cousin. It was that. That was it. So that also just made you just realize, like, it's not about you.
Yeah.
If you have patience, and like, and there's also a certain expectation. Like, there's a vibe, like, if you want to just do community theater in Naperville, Illinois, that's great too. You're probably not expecting then, like, why am I not opposite Meryl Streep in a movie? Fine.
Right.
But where your expectations are, just manage them, and know that even for anyone, it's not about you. It is a lot of luck. And we also know that luck is just where preparation and opportunity meet.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
just so people feel better, like, we all know, unless you're delusional, but like, unless you're a Trump, but we all know that you don't, especially in this field, you have to know your abilities. You have to know also what you like. Like, at this point, I don't necessarily want to be like the serious giving exposition guy. I'd rather have fewer lines and give a punchline and then walk off knowing, like, oh, that guy was so funny. Not, oh, that guy gave a lot of exposition.
Right.
So,
Right.
like, I do feel like if you can manage it a bit and know that you're always going to be right for some things and you're never going to be right for enough. It's kind of the serenity prayer element of it.
Mm-hmm.
What can and even take God out of it if it's not, that's not your boat. Like, but just give me the serenity and solace to control the things I can.
Right.
Know that I can't control everything, and just know the difference. Because
Yeah.
like, I know, like, oh, they really wanted someone. If I wanted to play that Olympic athlete who went back and joined the Jamaican bobs, I'm bastardizing Cool Runnings here. But if I wanted to join the Jamaican bobsled team as a 40-something and someone actually did it, they probably had more abs than I do. And if I didn't have abs for that, then maybe that's on me. If you see a photo of that person, like, this is him at 42, abs, I'll be like, maybe this part should go to someone else.
Right.
you
Right.
know? So there's that. I'm all about managing expectations right now. So I just hope that we, as actors, artists, you have to have a little bit more than normal people.
Yeah, definitely. When I learned that it wasn't all about me and realized, like what you said, it could be you look like someone's ex-wife or whatever it is, then you just have to let it go. Once I learned that really helped me. So
And
yeah.
Ladonna, doesn't that go to everything in our lives, like
Yeah.
relationships, to just people, like when someone yells at me on the street, or yells at like a brown person or a gay person, I'll be like, we can talk about this, we can discuss it, but we know it's not about me personally. It's the
Right.
idea of me. It's someone
Right.
else who looks like me, but it's
Right.
not about me. It's
Right.
about you and your reaction to this.
Right.
So that's all we can do now. It's hard to hear because we do know that there are certain groups, I'm looking at the two of us, for example,
Yeah.
have had it harder, have had less opportunity, and that those chances, that privilege is there. So, and even that, you still have to we still have to even be better, more prepared,
Yep.
count on those moments of luck. And it sucks. The only thing that gives me kind of like grace with that and solace is like talking to other friends who are in their early 20s and out and brown, and they just get to be college and high school kids,
Yeah.
where I joke, like, I will never play, I think, like my true self, because I think as I get older and we start, if I was to do like my 90s high school life or my 2000s like 20 something coming out type fun,
Yeah.
I'm going to be playing my dad or the uncle of that. And one of
Right.
those kids in their teens or 20s will finally get to play that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we know that. We anyone who comes at the forefront of their culture in this country, from the Hattie McDaniels to the Iqbal Thibas, other people, do you think that they wanted to be the accented dad or the maid
Or the
their
maid.
entire life? But they did it so then people like us can revere, remember. But we know that and here's the words, like, my example for years used to be the Cosby Show,
Mm.
and that experience. Now we have to separate the man from this thing. You know,
Yes.
the horror. That said, we all know his atrocities, but for little brown children who didn't even have like Asian, let alone Latino, Cosby Show was it.
Yes.
Cosby Show was it. It was the only time where we saw people of color. But then Rudy's friends were of every ethnicity. So like I do look to, that's what this Asian Indian kid had to look up to, was the Black family. You know, Proud Family. I think of Proud Family in animation all the time, because that is why like Mira Royal Detectives, Sanjay and Craig's, all these Gee Happy, all these Asian specific shows, Craig of the Creek, which is now just with the Black family, the Black kid and his two friends, and they just play on this side of the creek versus that side. And, you know, and I'm very grateful. So like, I just know like wherever, if you think you had it bad, just give yourself hope that there are going to be other kids who won't.
Yeah.
They
definitely
won't.
Each generation, you know, helps the other. The more we do, the more doors we open, for sure.
We have to.
Yeah. So, what, I was on the show earlier and someone asked about remembering lines. What is your special technique for remembering your lines when you're out, beside putting them on your computer?
Yeah, I was gonna say like I just outed myself as the cheater who never learned his line, just like has them here. My partner even had to be a background. He had to be a SAG-AFTRA background as a DoorDash delivery driver. He gives me the package, and I was like, Eric, and he just holds up the like paragraph. I have to like yell at him because I'm like, there's one less thing that I don't need to memorize. So you might be talking to the wrong person. But that being said, I do feel that it's a muscle. It's a muscle memory like any other. So when I'm in it, I do better. Like, meaning like we're on episode 7 right now of this initial 8. My memorization is so much, that muscle is just now better in October than it was in July or August. And being in class in late June into July, I was literally only in class for like a month and a half. We did scenes from broadcast news, and I got to play Albert Brooks, you know, which was a dream, and then got this show. I think even after that class is when I auditioned, when I put my audition for Connecting on tape. That being said, like I was already starting to get into that world. So I know I was not good at this on my own. I hope the people who are more motivated, but being in class, cold reading class, just, it worked that memory. I'm making myself crazy, but it worked that muscle memory for me. Like, so for me, it was all about the more you do it, and I don't know if that means like you just read a piece of thing and try to memorize. Do you know what I try to do to like my memory skill game that I always try to do sometimes? Like, you know, like when they text you like that 2-factor verification, like you're going to get a text alert so you can log into like Instacart or, you know, your Twitter account. I try to, you know, I know like the iPhone can even like copy it for you. I try to memorize it. I try to just memorize that 44282828 before I do it. It's just these little like one more moment of me trying to memorize something and retain it, and then it's gone. I am a big fan of like keep what you need and then get rid of it.
Right.
Like when you have TV, especially, because like we'll know your week ahead, you know, versus a play. I mean, a play you just, or musical, you just have to learn from start to finish because you're on that stage. It's just you.
Yeah.
But here, like I do know, like, okay, we shot the end of this episode at the beginning, so I know that those 4 pages are already. I don't know what I filmed the day before that yesterday. All I'm focusing now is what is for tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah, I like.
So I put it in and out. I do like this is today, and then
I like that.
push it out. And then the simplest thing is, even if you don't like say like you book something on a Friday and you start shooting on Monday, you got Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. Even if you don't start looking at it until like Sunday to like to do the work. I'm talking about highlighting any of your note work, whatever anyone's process is. Read it. You just got to read it once or twice on Friday and Saturday. Just having it, the familiarity, so it's not cold the day before, day of. Just even reading it. That's all I do. I have my scripts right next to my bed. Those pages. Some I keep on iPad, and a couple, like whenever it's big stuff, I still print out because I'm still that old school guy where I need to like scribble and highlight and draw. I'm getting better with the iPad, especially voiceover stuff. Like I try to do that rule. Like I try to never print out a voiceover script. And even as studios start to open up, let alone the in-closet recording, some places, voiceover, you can be alone. Like the places when I've gone in a couple times back into the world, I don't even touch the door. You know, like it's literally like the accessible button that you can just like hit. That was like the one thing I hit. I had my iPad, I had my script on my own. So like, it's just nice to know that you don't have to. But for something about like TV, film, stage, especially, I still need that hard copy.
Yeah, I'm all about printing, highlighting, and making notes. And
I do print on the back of old scripts, so at least I'm trying to reuse the paper.
Well, that's smart.
Before I recycle.
You know, I am all about, and I truly believe that the more you use it, the more you remember, because I started remembering better since I've been practicing a lot. I had a 11-page audition not too long ago. I was able to remember it in a day and a half. So definitely attendees that'll be watching this, make sure you read through your script, make sure you just read it as a story, and then you do the work with the highlights and things of that nature.
And you need to do that at the very beginning. Just read. Don't even have to do any of that, like you said, the highlighting stuff, but at least you have to have looked at it. And especially if you can give yourself the night before, something about that, it will be easier.
Yeah, I put the script in the bed with me. So we're almost coming up on an hour. So I want to thank you so much for your time. Do you have any other things that you'd like to share with us, or tell us what's next for you?
Well, we got Connecting. I'm very grateful to be recording. We're on our 3rd seasons of Disney's T.O.T.S and Mirror Royal Detective, which are both on Disney Junior.
And that's where you do the voiceover work, correct?
Yeah, those are my current ones right now. And they're just lovely. Voiceover is the best job. When we talk about like ethnicity representation, like it's twofold. Like Mirror Royal Detective is the biggest all South Asian and primarily South Asian American. Like there are some people from India proper, but most of everyone is here, and we don't use accents. We just, for children's ears, they just want our natural accent.
Nice.
So yeah, some people like Iqbal Thiba, Mother Joffrey, these like, royalty, they have natural accents being immigrants themselves. But the rest of us, from like Saryu Rao, Hannah Simone, Sonal Shah, Danny Pudi, let alone Utkarsh, Ambudkar, Kalpen, everyone, it's just us. So that's a joy. But then like other shows, it's just great to be like a stork, or like a cloud, or like a kid named Sanjay. Like very grateful in that regard. And there's music, and you're doing it's for children, and then you'll have to like call up your friend's niece to be like, Bodhi says, do your homework, Caitlin. And you do it. So like, I'm very grateful. I love it. It's another one of those dream jobs, because what kid didn't start off watching like Saturday morning cartoons, and He-Man, Transformers was my jam. So like to be on a Transformer cartoon was just blew my mind. And practically speaking, that's my day job. I view voiceover work as like, that's what I budget. That's what I pay the bills, A job like Connecting, yay, series regular network, but I have to, that's the money to save. That's hopefully the house down payment, like starting that world, because we're just renting. I'm just a renter, actor, trying to make it. And so what I learned is, because it's 10 years from my first big break, Outsourced, was like, you save, this is maybe the Asian mom to me, but we saved that money.
Yeah.
She wouldn't let me touch it for even the house payment, but I'm grateful. She knows more than I do. So it's just nice to know that the voiceover work especially is like, no, budget. This is like my routine. This is like what I need to do. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And how long have you been doing voiceover?
I want to say about 9-10 years. I got my first big one was Transformers Rescue Bots, and I got that right in 2011, right when I was doing Outsourced. So my on-camera career and my voiceover career were both during that time, and I'm very grateful to all the producers for both of those shows.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It has been such a pleasure. I can talk to you all day, all night. It's so
I
easy to
know.
chat with you.
I'm excited. It's just I also miss Atlanta. Like my friend Amanda Wilhite is Amanda's in development at the ballet, and she
Mm.
used to be at the Alliance and she used to be at Horizon Theater Company. So I know a little bit of the scene out there, and a lot of friends have made their way to Atlanta as a viable spot. White, black, everybody,
Everybody,
it's
yeah,
a good mix of some Chicagoans too who have made their way and made their home
yeah.
in the Southeast. So I just kind of like, gosh, I haven't been there in a bit.
Well, come on down to the South.
I know. I need my boiled peanuts.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in with us today and sharing your journey with us. I appreciate that. I'm sure the attendees will appreciate that as well. So this concludes the Fire Media segment of Conversations with Ladonna. This is the 15-year anniversary for Peachtree Village International Film Festival. So I hope you guys are enjoying or will enjoy all the panel discussions and the workshops and the screenings. So thank you guys so much. And thank you so much. I appreciate it for
Thank
taking
you,
time.
LaDonna. Lovely to see you and talk to you.
You too. All right. Bye.